Hey, Sherry Borger, Stampin' Sherry is my account in Facebook, and so I am going to go over the Stamp Camp items. There were 4 cards that I put into my April Stamp Camp. One isn't as, I'm not going to say it's difficult, it's just that there's a lot of pieces to put together to create the card. So because of timing, I try to keep it, around an hour. So that's why I did it that way. So I am going to go over what we had. Let me see here. So this is the actual instructions, and it goes through all 4 cards, as you can see. And so what I did is I sent a set of cards already made for my group back in Minnesota. I sent my master set. So I'm going to have to make another master set, and so it's going to be just a little bit more time on this, but I will be able to show you a little bit about how assembly is going to go, and it should go fairly quickly. I'm going to switch to my desk so you can see everything, but first I'm just going to kind of go over some of the things that are going to be kind of needed for this group of cards. So you're going to need something that is adhesive. I of course use Stampin' Seal. It's a very good quality adhesive, so that's what I use. Glue dots, either glue dots that are on a roll, or I actually have found the ones that are on the sheets to be a little nicer for me personally. But they're getting out to be really hard to find. I don't see Michael's selling them like, let me show you. And this is how I was buying them, and they were on the sheets. Michael's now only, they do sell glue dots on sheets, but you have to look where they have all of the other adhesive, and they will have them, and they're just a package with a few sheets of different sizes of glue dots, which is not really what I like, because when I get the glue dots, I like them to be small, and they don't always do it that way. Another thing that's going to be handy is, well, we're definitely going to need glue, so either a Tombow glue like this, or what I've done is I've put a clear Tombow glue in a small bottle with a fine tip pen. You just need a something with a fine tip. Now that bottle has a smaller tip. Also, I have found and used these. They're called Tombow glue pens, and sometimes they work for me, sometimes they don't, because it kind of helps when you have a second hand to hold your project while you're putting the glue down, and so this doesn't always work for me. Markers, we will need markers. I of course keep all my retired markers. I usually don't give them away, I keep them. And then my current markers, and then there's also these blends. So if you've gone and have your own set, not a problem. Let's go to my desk and get started. It helps if I actually switch it to my desk, right? Okay, so the first card is going to, it's actually using 2 stamp sets, and so that's why I label it Beach Together plus Beach Day, or Adventure Together plus Beach Day, because we're using 2 different stamp sets, combining them to make this card. Now my inspiration for this card was there was a family in South Africa, and they like to go to the beach, and they surf and they camp. So you could do it up here in California too. So that's what we're doing. We're gonna create a scene where you have your sky, and anything that's gonna look like sand or something like that is your bottom. We're going to make a palm tree on the side with a surfboard and a camper. So this is where you will need, beginning with coloring, you will need your markers on the very first card. So this is what, I will try to do it real quickly. I like these two colors, and they're retired colors, but I've got a lighter and a darker version of called Coastal Cabana is what it is. But you know, pick colors you want. I kind of wanted something that was going to be bright or brighter. So if you wanted pink, or you can go something different. So what I did is my light color I put on the main part. So with the broader tip, you can actually go and get quite a bit of it right away. And then I go around the box in front right here, because that's, I'm going to make that another color because that's the bumper. Okay, and then around the scallops is pretty easy. You just take your tip, go right into the, in between each scallop, and then kind of go down around. That's how I do it, and it seemed to work pretty well. You're not going to color in the window part, and it's got a planter outside. I found that kind of cute for a camper to have a planter. Alright, so my door, I'm going to have a different color. So I'm now going to go wrap around my door and wrap around my tires. It goes pretty fast once you get used to it, and then you just kind of go slow around the objects that you're going to be doing a different color, obviously. The main color of the little camper actually will go pretty fast. Okay, so I've done the main part, and then I'm going to take the darker color and I'm going to do the top of the camper and the door with the darker color. And because it's a nice swipe across, you can do that, and then you can kind of go around it and fill it in. Now, unfortunately, you all will be fussy cutting. I do have a die cut for this, and I need it. I don't have two, so I'm keeping it here in California. And so the ones back in Minnesota, you are going to be die cutting. You are going to be fussy cutting. You may actually enjoy it. And fussy cutting just means you're going to take a scissors and you're going to just cut around the outside of your image that you are wanting to put onto your card. So to get the door was actually quite fast as well. All right. Now what I decided to do was use a what is this one? Yes, a yellow for my a yellow for my little thing that's coming out. What do you call this? I don't know. Awning? And you can go just straight across. Then when you get to the bottom, just kind of swoop down. And since you've already got the green already on there, it just kind of blends in. Now, also what I'm going to do yellow is I'm going to do the bumper in that yellow. Okay. Now, one thing would be this planter. You can do the bottom of the planter. I'm going to do it yellow, but I know on my other ones I did, I used the darker of the two colors from the van, and I did that way. So you've got vegetation here, or plants or whatever. So I'm going to use green for that, and I'm hoping it's going to show up. I'm going to use kind of a real light green. There. So I've got a light green in there. And so now I have tires. You could do black tires, gray tires, you know, brown tires. I guess it doesn't matter. I am going to, what am I going to do? Because I don't really have, oh, I do have some gray. Now, I use Stampin' Up markers for pretty much everything, but there are some things like the gray that they just don't have really the color of grays I like. So I do have this. It's from, I believe, let's see if I can get my camera. Oh, there we go. This comes from Michael's, and I think these are only like $5.99, but I get the ones that are just gray. And then you have a variety of colors, and it does the same thing with the two different tips. I don't like the one tip is, it's more like a chisel, so it's almost like a poster type of marker, but it does have this type of a tip here. So this is the one I use. So I'm going to use gray. I'm going to go around, I'm going to color everything except the very center of that tire. So I'm going to do the outer edge and the inner little circle before the main one. You can do two different colors or if you want. I'm not going to. Alright, and you know what? You don't have to necessarily be perfect because it's a tire. And I'm doing the steps in the same color. Okay, so there you go. Now what I've decided to do is kind of have my surfboard kind of go along the theme of my camper. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just take my light color that I used on the camper and then the yellow. And I'm just going to kind of do that around my surfboard. And since you're going to fussy cut, if you go outside the edge, it's not necessarily going to be bad because you'll just trim it off. Okay, so I'm going around the edge. I'm not necessarily going real straight, but you can if you want. It's your surfboard. And then I'm going to take my yellow, fill in the middle. And you can kind of pull in a little bit of the color that's already there if you start it right away. I'm not sure if it's dried, if it will pull in, but see that it's kind of got a look like it's still in the water. Actually, I like that look, but it's your surfboard. You color it the way you want. You could even put a little design on it if you want. It's up to you. Okay, so now I've got this done. Just something I want to tell you is you want to have some type of paper underneath it because it will go through and you don't want to get any marker on top of your table or any other project you might have put underneath it by mistake. Oops. So then I try to cap my markers right away because they will dry out a little bit. So if that happens, you just kind of keep working it until the color starts working its way through again. But like everything, markers do end up, you know, over time drying out altogether. So I've got this done. And now we've got our card we can start working on. For time's sake, I'm not going to cut this out because you don't want to watch me do that. But what I would do is I would take my die cuts, I would put it through my die cut machine and I would cut it that way. So this is really a cute set if you want to get something summery, campy. This camper set is a current one. This surfboard is from another set called Beach Day, but it is still available on the catalog right now. So now we're going to go over here. You've got your, let me go back out. Okay, you're going to put your sky on top and your sand down below. So you're going to take your runner tape, or you know what, even tear and tape. If you prefer tear and tape, this is something to use as well. If I want my project to really stick, tear and tape will work too. Tear and tape is a good use when you have your surface might be a little bit uneven. Like if you had put your paper through an embossing and it had raised images on it, that's when tear and tape comes in handy. Okay, so I'm going to put my sky in. Now I'm going to look at this and I might decide to do my sky like this, or I might decide to do my sky like this. I'm going to do it this way. It's up to you. So when you put it on, you want to get fairly close to the top because I cut it so it's 1/8 of an inch difference, which is very small actually. So you want to get up to the top, kind of even it out. You just put the top part of your paper up there. You don't want to press it down yet. You want to make sure you got your edges the way you want. Then you take your hand, you go up to the top, and then you go down. Do it lightly, just in case you put it down and you think it's too uneven. You have some time to pull it up and reposition. Okay. Now some people will, you will see some demonstrators use glue a lot, and they say, they say it so that way it gives them time to position and reposition, which is true. It will give you time to position and reposition, but I have seen in too many cases where people put too much glue on, or even if they don't think they put too much glue on at the time, over time it warps the card and warps your paper that you've used. So again, you're going to do it to the piece that's going to be representing your sand or your ground. I just put 2 on there. So now when I put it over, okay, so when I'm going to go from the bottom, okay, and I'm going to make sure it overlaps. Now what you're going to do is you're going to like I'm holding it here, and then you're going to kind of slide this over, and you want it to match up to what you've already have. To this corner here, you want the edge to match up. So that way when you line it up, it should line up on the other side. And you can go down or as far up as you want. You can probably even butt it up to each other if you want. But I'm going to overhang it just a little bit, because what we're going to do is we're going to tuck in our trunk of our palm tree. So now you're going to go very light, and you're going to go this way. And the reason why is because if you put this too crooked, it's not going to match up here. So thank goodness I did mine fairly well, and it does match up to that side. So here we go, okay? Now you're going to put your palm tree over here. So I have my palm trunk, which is very thin. I'm going to tell you, I'm not going to lie. So this is why I'm going to have you tuck it in. I'm going to explain it here. You're going to tuck in your branch wherever you find a spot. Just tuck it in, okay? And you kind of want it fairly tall because you're going to be leaning that surfboard up against that tree. And the surfboard is actually in a higher scale or a bigger scale than the tree. So that's why you're going to lean it so it doesn't appear so much bigger than the tree, okay? So that's what I got. That's all I got for you. It's hilarious. But so then what you're going to do is you're going to take a glue dot, and you can actually take one that's a little bit bigger if you want to keep your small ones for something smaller, a smaller surface, I mean. So these I have are actually quite small, so I'm going to save them for something else. Here's a bigger one. If you have them that are bigger, I wouldn't worry too much because you can always fold them in half or something like that. So I put a glue dot on my finger. You don't have to do it this way, but I'm doing it this way so that way I can take it, put it right over the tip of your palm tree, and I'm going to press it down and just kind of pull slowly. And now my glue dot is over that. And as you can see, I didn't have to put any glue or anything on that trunk because I've tucked it and I've also put a glue dot on the top. It's not going to move. Now you're going to put your branches on top. So you take your first one and kind of put it wherever. You want to kind of remember, you're going to stagger these so it looks like a palm tree. Now you want another glue dot. So this one I want to have a smaller glue dot because it's a very small space here. So I've got this small glue dot and I'm just putting it in. So if you get them on the sheet and and it pulls off on the clear, which is nice because then you can put it right in the middle. I'm not sure if you can see that. Put the glue dot right in the middle of your stuff. Now if you've got a bigger glue dot, don't worry, just fold it in half or roll it and put it in there. So now I've got my second layer and I'm going to put it down like this, okay? And you're going to do it one more time. So it's you can rip them off individually because they come in a sheet. You can rip them off and use them individually, or if you know you're going to use 2 or 3 at a time, just keep them together. I am going to, I only need one of them, but let's see what I can do here. There we go. Okay, I folded it over and I'm going to put it in the middle. Because you're also going to want to use a small glue dot for your bird. Okay, and voila, there is your palm tree, okay? Now you've got this really, I have to laugh because it looks like a really bad comb is what it looks like, but this is actually your piece of grass. It came with the set, but if you get more, you eventually will get more and more sets and you will have other types of grass. You might want to use another one because this is really, I had to laugh. It's very, it just looks bad. But I'm making it work. So the grass will go at the bottom of your palm tree. And if you think about it, when you are at a beach or something, there is little patches of grass, you know, around the beach. And so to have one by a tree is not uncommon. So it's not like you're making something that doesn't look correct. So my surfboard I will cut and I will put here at an angle my camper I will cut and I will put that over here. So my camper I'm going to put on small dimensionals. My surfboard I'm actually going to put on glue dots because it'll raise it up just a little bit, but not too much. You could put it on dimensionals because the foliage on your palm tree is kind of out a little bit, so it could work. And your bird, let's get my bird on here. And you know what, these can be kind of tricky if you use a glue dot, but the nice thing is when you use a glue dot is you don't have to wait for the glue to dry and you're done with your kit. So going back to the picture, this is what it's going to look like. You have your surfboard here, you have your camper here, and here's your sand, and your bird can be anywhere actually, okay? So now we're going to go on to card 2, which is this one here. This one will be much easier. It'll be a quicker one to do. So let's fade back to the screen. All right, so I will finish that up and have that as my master for Sunday's stamp camp. So this one is very easy. And then one thing too, I forgot to mention, is you will have white, a white piece of cardstock, and they will actually go inside these cards. So you will have a white piece like this. You can put it inside. Now, because I am making them a little bit more simple, you can take your stamp set, and as you evaluate, you can maybe take a stamp from the stamp set and do something decorative inside. I did not, because if you do the surfboard, you could do a partial surfboard because you want to have space to write. Or as you see, we did not put any type of sentiment. And this is where I have on one, I've made one of these cards and then I put my sentiment in the middle here. And because I didn't really want to ruin my scene that I have here with a sentiment, I really wanted them to actually enjoy the card. So that was my reasoning for that. Okay, now let's go to the next one. The next one is using the Ocean Friends set. And so you will have a piece of yellow, your card base is going to be blue. You will have a orange lobster and another, kind of looks orange, crab. The lobster and the crab are going to go on the front, as you have seen on your thing. So let's get this going. I'm going to fold it, and I've already folded everything for you. But when you're folding, you do have a score line, but that doesn't necessarily mean everything's going to be perfect when you fold it over. So when you fold it over, if you notice that there's going to be, this one's going to be real good. But if you notice that there's going to be a difference in the edge, like one edge is going to be over the other one a little bit, then that's where you can kind of move it around a little bit, and then you kind of massage this edge piece so it is more even. So your white piece goes inside your card, and then your orange piece, or your yellow piece, is going to go out on the outside. But first, what you want to do is you're going to go somewhere around this this edge right here, just a little bit up, maybe an inch up, and you're going to start to rip, and you're going to want to rip at an angle going down to here. Okay, so I will do that. Okay, as you see, I've started a rip. Maybe you can't see my rip. Here we go. I started a rip, and I'm going to go at an angle. And as I'm going, I'm going to tear it, kind of go back and forth a little bit as you're tearing it. And so that way it shows like the the paper underneath. Now, if you had cardstock that had a white core, there would be a white line there. So that would be kind of neat too. I actually think I'm going to do mine just a little bit more. So to tear quite as far out as I thought it was going to. So, and you can do that. Just go to where you want and tear some more. There. Okay. With this one, you want your yellow to be up on dimensionals. So because you are, this is your main piece, you don't want it to flop around. So that was the other thing I forgot to tell you, is you need dimensionals. And for this one, you're going to want to use the ones that are the bigger octagon ones and not the mini ones, because you want to fill out this, this space, okay? So I'm going to show you what I mean by that. You definitely want to get each of your corners. So you've got this corner, this corner, this corner, but you got to realize here, you've actually got 2 more corners. So you're hitting 5 spots, okay? Now you don't want to forget the middle. You don't want it to flop in, because you're going to be putting your lobster and your crab in the middle part. So I'm going to do this. I'm going to do 4 over here. I'm going to do 3 down here. And then I'm going to do, I think 4 in the middle. I'll start with this one here. Go here. Go here. And you could use this as an anchor, but I'm going to do 1 more kind of in the middle. All right? So there it is. You want to do that. And you know what? Don't worry about how many dimensionals you use, because you get a lot of them when you order. And if you get any of those kits, there's always extras of the kits. And if you keep all that stuff, you're golden. So I'm going to take all this off, and then when you get to the edge, where you get to the point where you're on your, all that's left is the edge, don't throw it away, cut it up and make more dimensionals. And sometimes they're nice because you have the corners on them, and you can use them in the corners of these cards, and it secures it. So here we go. I'm trying to go really fast, people. Okay, so I'm ready. Okay, I'm going to place it on the front. Again, I would go up to the top and go lightly, and then bring it down. You want your edges to kind of be the same amount on each side. And this one I've got up a little bit, but I'm fine with that. And then you can kind of like, I'm kind of playing with this and kind of roughing it up. I like that. Okay, the reason why is you're going to have a sentiment that says, hello friend, all right? Now I made it fairly long, so it gives you the opportunity to cut it. And so I'm gonna have it, I want it to hang over a little bit, but I don't need it to hang over this far past hello. So I'm going to take my scissors, and I'm going to cut fairly close. You don't have to, you can leave a little bit, because at the edge of the hello is where you're going to put your lobster. So your hello can be put on with maybe some tearing tape. I'll just show you how tearing tape works. It doesn't need to be all the way over, because remember, it's hanging over the edge of your yellow paper. So I'm going to put a couple right next to each other because there's space. Okay, so here I've done that. Okay, I put my tearing tape like that, and now I'm going to peel it off. Now, some people, tearing tape can be your friend or your enemy. It really can. So if you start pulling it up and it's the tape is coming with you, push with your thumb, push it back down, push it real hard on the corner, then take your fingernail again and peel it up, okay? Some people have this thing from Stampin' Up. Other people make it too, but this one you can take the pointer of it and go underneath your thing as well and peel it up that way. But let's see if that worked. It did. All right. Now, and the reason why there's Hello Friends on the other side, I didn't do a good job on that one, so I did both sides. Okay, so it's going to hang over. I'm going to have it hang over about like that, okay? And up a little bit because you want room for your lobster tail to stay on the surface. Now it's up to you if you want to have your lobster and your crab up a little bit. You already have it raised a little bit with the dimensionals under this, so you don't have to. You can put it down with glue dots or with tape. I am going to choose to put small dimensionals underneath them. Okay. It's nice with the small dimensionals. Let me move this up here so you can see it. With the small dimensionals because you can fit them in these small spaces like the crab legs or crab claws, because they're not legs. The legs are down below. All right. Or lobster, I should say. I've actually never had lobster. At least not that I remember. Some people really like it. I think it's a hoot when they wear those bibs though. Got these people that are worth millions of dollars and they eat lobster wearing bibs. Okay, so I put one onto each claw and then just a few around the body. Dimensionals are nice. It does take a little time because you have to, you know, place them and then peel the tops off, but there's a reason for them. It makes your card look a little nicer. Gives it a little touch. Okay, so I have taken off all of the dimensionals off my crab. And so my crab I'm going to put over up in this space right here. And my lobster is going to go down here, right over the Hello Friends. The reason being is you each will have two gems to use, and I poured them out and now I can't find them. Nice one, Sherry. Nice one. You will have two. And maybe it fell down. And so I will flip over to the picture so you can see how you put your gems right here, right next to your lobster, okay? And when I find mine, I will have mine done. So that's card number 2. Card number 3, card number 3 is going to be our happy disaster. That's what I'm going to say. It's Delightful Wishes. I labeled your bag as wishing. So here we go. There's a lot of moving parts to this, and moving parts as I mean moving parts. Okay, so we could do things that are a little easy first. I'm not going to say easy, but here's the things you want to do first, because it's gonna require some gluing. This is the one that does require gluing, and you're gonna kind of, you know, speak bad words about me while you're doing this, and I understand totally. So I'm going to move this part of my project over and move the parts that need to be glued in front. Oh, look! I found my things that go on my other card. You're going to get two of these, a bigger one and a smaller one, and these are the ones you're going to put on your lobster card. I knew I'd find them, and it's never when I need them. Okay, so here's what the ones that you are going to need to glue. You might even be able to use glue dots. Let's see what we got here. Let's see what we got. This one you will not. The word wishing, I have the outer and the inner word, and I have them the same color. The reason why is I just, for some reason, kind of liked it. Okay, so my G still has a little piece of paper in there, so I'm going to get my little tool and poke it out. What you're going to do is you're going to glue your wishing, the small letters on top of the background, okay? And let's see if I can get this pushed out. There we go. All right. So here's what I would say. Because your glue is going to dry clear, I would use the glue and put it on this part first, okay? So when you have your glue, you're going to want to have it in like either laying it down like this on the table while you're waiting to use it, or if you have something like this, a stand where it can stand upside down, do that. So that way when you're ready to use your glue, it's actually ready to go. One thing with all glue is sometimes it'll dry up and where it comes out, so you just have to take a little pin or something. Mine didn't. So I'm just taking drops, and I'm going to put drops all across my word. Okay, so it was hard to see because my hand was in the way. But I put drops here in the main areas, okay? Now I'm going to take my small wishing, put it over where it would go in place. The G, you're going to have to kind of maneuver a little bit, I think. And then kind of press it down. And definitely use your fingers. Don't use like a piece of paper, because if you do that, it's going to stick to the paper and not where it needs to. Maybe even use your fingernail a little bit, kind of press it down, and then let it dry while you're working on the rest of the card, okay? So that is that one. It actually went quite faster than I thought it was going to, but you may have to kind of keep going back and just kind of pressing it down, because sometimes, you know, it naturally wants to pull itself up. All right, you're going to have 2 big flowers and 1 small flower. And these are the middles to your flowers, okay? And it might, you'll know which side is the good side and the bad side of your cardstock for your flowers. I'm trying to remember how I figured, oh, here. This is what I did. You see this kind of, I don't know, kind of a mountain shape, a full mountain shape. that is where I believe will go in this mountain shape right here. So let's try it. Of course, it's not going to fit in, you know, as perfect as you think, but that's what a flower does, right? But it will slide down fairly well. Okay, so here it is. Okay, this is what it's going to look like. It's going to be a little there. You'll kind of move it until you get to where you like it, but that is where you want to start, is right there. And then it's going to, everything will fall into place. You move it into there, and all the other flower parts will move into place. Okay. Yeah. So there. Yeah, I just don't see it any other way. This is kind of throws you off because of the that peak, and then you got that scoop, so it does throw you off. But that is where you want to place it. Is there, okay? On both of them, and then you use your glue, or glue dots would be hard just because you don't want your glue dots to be coming through any of this, because then some other things are going to stick to it. So just put a little glue on like I did with the wishing. Here it's going to kind of go like this. You will kind of figure out how to slide it in, but you got one that's got the 3 little peak, and it's going to go in here. Okay, so that's going to get glued together. That's going to be put to the side. That'll be kind of basically your last thing that you put onto your card. Okay, so let's go to the rest. I got my wishing drying. Okay, let's go to the rest. This is going to be a card that is going to fold out in a, I'm going to call it a magical way. So these 2 pieces here, if you want, let's just tape them together. And you will notice what I did is I gave you 2 different ways. You well, you all the best, because you're gonna put wishing. So do you want your card to say wishing you all the best or wishing you well? Okay, so depending on which one you want to come up first, then you tape the other side. I want mine to say wishing you well. I have someone that's coming out of the hospital, and I think that's going to be a good card for that person. So I'm going to tape the back. I'm going to use my runner tape. So I'll go back again. Okay. It keeps wanting to go back down. Okay. I'm going to use 3 strips, 1 in the middle and 1 on each edge, and it will secure it fairly well. And it goes on, you will see, it'll go on the green rectangle as well. So line it up, like I do, I line up one edge and then put it over. Now, you might want to line it up on the top first and go down, so that way both edges have the same distance apart from them. Okay, so that I'm going to set aside. Now we're going to get to the main nitty-gritty, okay? So your card is going to fold over like this. And then you're going to go, but wait, I got this long white piece. So this long white piece is what's going to create this dimensional card for you. So you're going to see 2 folds, which are going to be very hard for me to show you because it's on white. It's going to be a fold down here and a fold on the very bottom. So this main large piece here is going to it's going to get tucked under the front of your card. And then the other 2 pieces are going to kind of come forward outside of the card. So the best thing to do right now is to find your first fold, and you want to bring your card up like that, okay? Your next fold is going to go down like this. And then as you're folding it, make sure it's lined up, because you can always maneuver or, you know, move your score line so that it lines up, okay? So it's going to kind of be like this when we're done, okay? Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put adhesive on the, you're going to have it where the fold is coming up to you. You're going to put the adhesive on the inside here. I would put 3, possibly 4 lines of tape along the side, okay? All right. What you're going to do is you're going to want the inside, this is going to be my inside of my cover. You're going to want this to go up against it. So here's the thing that we might want to do first, now that I'm thinking about it, is you want to have your card front done, because what you're going to do is you're going to line it up. So you have your front piece, it's going to go on like that, and then this yellow floral piece is going to go over the top of it, okay? I'll show you why we're doing that. So put this aside, I'm very sorry. We're going to go to this, and you're going to want to tape and have that front piece on it. Okay, so you're going to go to the top, align it up, have your two edges kind of, want to make sure they're even. You're going to put it down. There you go. Okay, there you go. All right. Now you're going to put your floral on top of that. Same way with a little bit of edge around your top and sides. The bottom will get covered up, so if it's not exact, I wouldn't worry about it. Okay, and so you go like this, line up your top and your edges very lightly, like I said, and then kind of press down as you're going down. Okay, so I went a little close to this edge, but I'm not going to worry about it. Okay, the reason doing this is because this piece is cut the same width as your front here, this 4 inches. So you want your card to come out and match where your white is on the front. So this is what you're going to do. See, I've got this matching. Got my white front edges matching, so when you fold it over, it is going to be in place, in the right place. That makes sense? You're going to take it, and you're going to fold it down and press it down. Now, as you see, you have your white edge is going to be the same as this white edge. Reason being is because then you're going to put your card front on here. So this one actually I have to meet this up, but it doesn't matter because once it's folded, it's not gonna be there. Okay, so I think, let's see. Looks like it got folded. Mine got, I didn't cut it down. I didn't cut it down far enough. I didn't cut enough off. So let's see. I'll take my, everything's fixable. It really is. So what I'm saying, here's what I meant. I'm going to show you what happened. So when I fold this over and I put this over it, it hangs over that, and it's not supposed to. So I'm going to take off what I need to. So let me measure, what did I cut this at? Oh, I folded it at 2 inches. So I need this to be this says 2 inches. And you just need very little, but I would cut off about 1/8 of an inch. Otherwise, if you try to cut off too little, it's not going to, the trim is not going to work. The paper trimmer is going to just rip your paper. So I cut mine to fit, and I'm going to tape it and put it down. Believe it or not, we are almost done. We really are. Okay, so I'm going to put this on. Now, here's what you're going to want to do. Let me show you. You're going to fold this, and when you put this down, you want this paper to match up with the paper you have already there. So, line the edges up, and voila, everything lines up. So when it's folded, it lines up. Now the reason for this is so that way when you have your card, it's supposed to stand up on the table. But what I found with this card is you kind of need to have something underneath it, like a tablecloth or a what do you call those, placemat or something, and it'll stand up, because if the surface is too smooth, it's just going to slide off. But we are not done, obviously. So we have our part here that we taped together. Here's what you want to do for figuring out how to put this on. You fold this up, okay, and this part here, you want to line up with the top of your green fold up there. So now I know I can probably put, as you can see, here's the edge, and here's what I have. So I could probably put 2 good strips of adhesive, and then I'll be good. It should stay together fairly well. So that's what I'm going to do. 2 strips of adhesive. All right, here we go. Put one here, and one fairly close. And I could probably even put one right there at the bottom, just to make me feel good. Fold it up again. Line it and center it. Lined it, centered it, and now I'm going to stick that down. Yay! Okay, so now we're going to finish our card. Okay, you have your wishing. That will go here. So you now, because you have the background piece, you have enough behind there to use glue dots. I would prefer to use glue dots just because it'll stick if something hits it or whatever. It'll stay, okay? And then with your flowers, you're going to put this one. Okay, I would do this one a little over. You can go as far over as you want. Put this one, they're all going to go on dimensionals. When you put this one on, you want this one to kind of go over the top of this one. And then your last one, you can do what you want, but what I did is I put dimensionals, and then I had the end of both of them go over both of the flowers, okay? So it went like this, see? And now you're going to take glue dots and you're going to glue your wishing. So you can either put your wishing down first and then put the flowers up above, which might be a good choice. You get your flowers up a little bit, and then you can, if this one is on dimensionals, you'll be able to tuck the H underneath this flower, which is really quite cute. So my card is going to be wishing you well, And then when it's all open, this part here will be, I'll hold it with just the wishing so you can see what I'm talking about. So as you can see, the wishing and your card is up like this, all right? Here. So here it is, like this. It'll show like this on the table. And then you've got wishing here. But it lies flat, so you can put it in an envelope and mail it. It may need to use a, I advise you to get the stamps that are for non-machinable stamps. They cost a little bit more money, but when you're sending a nice card like this, it's worth it, because what the non-machinable means is they do not run it through the machine, which means it will not rip the card. And that's kind of what you want. You don't want it going through the machine and having this stuff here get ripped when it catches through the envelope, because they're pretty tight. I've had some of my cards come back and they're ripped pretty good. So it's a good investment. So now you have a couple different options for your gems. I found these gems that have a light blue and a dark blue. But if you look at this paper, the light blue or the dark blue will work. So do a couple of them along the side or on the bottom, and you will have a very nice card. If you look at my picture in the instructions, it'll be easy. And then you will see also, you'll see a thin strip like this. It's up to you, but you will be putting a white piece of cardstock in the inside to write on, and you can put this on the inside along the edge just as something decorative. Some people aren't really a fan of doing that. Sometimes I don't like it, sometimes I do. It just depends on the type of design that's going on there. I think that's cute, so that's why you have that. Okay, let's do the last card. The last card I titled Flower Market, because on the vase is Flower Market. This one will require some coloring as well. To save time, I already colored. I will say that what happened on mine, I will fade back and I will show you what happened to mine. When I used my markers, I used there's two types of blacks. There's the Memento black, and then there's the let me show you. There's this Memento black, and then there's the Stays On black. Well, this is brown, but I do have the black one. The Stays On version, when you do that, it is supposed to be a little bit more steady of a color when you use markers inside it. I found that it didn't work on mine. It still bled a little bit, but really once you trim around it, it's gonna be just fine. So I colored my roses red. One flower I used like a dark purple, the other one I used a pink. The bushy one right here, that's over here to the edge off of that run rose, I don't really consider that. I was thinking, you know, I'm not going to consider that leaves. I'm going to consider that a plant. So I did that a lighter green, and then my other leaves I did as a kind of a darker green. So that was my thinking behind that. This card will be fairly easy to assemble once you get your coloring done and your fussy cutting. This is a good example as to why you get your die cuts, because I do have the die cut for this, and that's why you die cut. Yours are already die cut because I thought I'd save you from the fussy cutting. But now you're going to wonder, how do I color that? Well, you could, you know, I only have one hand, but if you got two hands, you can hold the one, you know, and color around it. Another trick would be to put a glue dot on the bottom, stick it to your surface, and then color, and then you're going to gently pull it up, you know, pull the glue dot up. You do want paper underneath this because it will bleed through, and you want to protect your surface, your table or whatever. You do want to protect it. Okay, so I use some colors that I don't use very often, and I like the combo that came with it. I used Moody Mauve is what I did. So I'm going to fold this down, and this one folds pretty good. But just to let you know, if you've got one where the when you look at it, you look at the bottom and maybe there's a little bit of an overhang, because there is just a little bit of an overhang. The side that overhangs on top, that's the one you want on top. You don't want it to be the other way around. So I'm going to flip it, and that's going to be on top. I'm going to we're going to have the card face this way. And you have paper, and the paper, one side is flat white. The other side, if you look at it, has a little bit of a shimmer to it. So that is what I'm using on the front of the card. So you put that down as your base. Let's tape it down quickly. 3 good strips will do it. If you're worried about it, sometimes what I do, I've got 3 strips on here. Sometimes I do a strip along the edges to make sure it sticks. And that is one thing you can do too. Again, you hold your card down, you take your base, and this is only 1/8 of an inch difference, so you do want to be very careful. You want to have it close on top, because otherwise what's going to happen is your bottom is going to run over the bottom of your card. So I've got it up pretty good. I'm just going to hold the corner. I'm going to slide my other hand out, and it looks good. So then fold it down. Now if it wasn't that good, then you take this right away and you pull it back up so it doesn't pull your card base. If it does, if it's going to be underneath your white piece here, it really doesn't matter because you're going to cover it back up, right? Okay. Now the other piece you have, you want the flat white is going to go on the inside of your card. Here is another one that with this stamp set, there were other flowers and plants in the stamp set. So this would be one where you would like to, if you had it, then you would have the choice of being able to put something in the corner or even along the edge is what you could do. Okay, I am using a wood grain designer series paper. Now if you look, there's a different type of wood grain on each side. I'm going to pick the lighter side on mine, and I'm going to, and then you got your grain goes different ways, right? I'm going to have my grain going, this to me looks like it's going down. So that's what I'm going to do next. So that's what goes on next, okay? Same thing, 3 good strips, edge, middle, outer edge. Okay, a little bit more visible. See what I did there? Okay. Now, same thing, fold it down. You got 1/8 of an inch on this one as well. I could have probably gone a little a little larger with my edges, because the middle vase and all is going to be quite, it's going to be in the middle, but it would have been just fine to have a little closer one. This one you have to be careful, so I'm going to go really lightly. See what I'm doing? I'm just very lightly making sure it'll go and fit in the entire way. I actually did a very good job here. I'm so proud of myself. I'm patting myself on the back because the demo card I sent you, I didn't do a very good job, so I apologize. Okay, now you have this piece here. I called it a trellis. I didn't know what else to call it, but look around on the very edge. There's going to be possibly 2 little spots there where the cardstock didn't come through, didn't fall out. So just push your fingernail through it and kind of rub your finger underneath, and it'll fall out and you will have all that done. So this is going to go in your middle, okay? And then you're going to have your vase, which I've already it's already fallen somewhere. Oh, here we go. So help me. Okay, I decided to use a green for my flower market. I'd used a darker one. I could have used even, I was thinking navy. Navy would have looked good too, actually, not the more I think about it. So this is what's going to happen. I'm just kind of put it down first without gluing anything down. Your flower pot's going to go in the middle, and your flowers that you've colored are going to go over the top, okay? So here's what you're going to do. Let's now take the flower pot and the flowers off. You're going to take your flowers and figure out how you want them. Do you want your greenery to be up higher, or do you want it to be over to the edge? I'm going to do mine like this, okay? And I am actually going to glue it down just so you see how I did it. I took a piece of tear and tape is what I did actually, and I'm going to show you why. As soon as I find my tear and tape, right here it is. Okay, so tear and tape, you want the ones that aren't real thin, but you don't need it to be real long, obviously, because your top of your vase isn't very long. So here we go. I'm going to put it over this red piece so you can maybe see it better. Okay, so I'm going to take my tear and tape. I'm going to put it here, but I'm going to hang it over a little bit, and I'm going to show you why. And I'm not going to press it down because I don't want the paper underneath here to stick to it, but I do want it to be on the top of my vase, hanging over a little bit. So as you see, it hangs over just a little bit. Okay, I'm going to be real gentle with it. Now I'm going to go on the bottom here, and I'll just go over my table here. I'm going to go to the bottom here and pull up my tear and tape. That is going to be the trick. I'm really not joking. Kind of made it too long because now I can't grab underneath it. Well, that was dumb. No, I got it. I got it. Okay, so I have my tear and tape. I'm going to pull it up again. Okay, so now what you're going to do is you're going to take your flowers. You're going to press them down where you want. The reason why you have that tear and tape longer is because now you've got something on the back to tape over to keep your flowers on your pot. You got a little bit hanging over, and that's good because now I can take a piece of tear and tape and cover that and go a little bit higher and have a little bit more stability for my flowers. Okay, now what you're going to have, I don't know why they do this. They do this where you get this what do you call this, thread, or this thick I think it's jute, right? But they wrap it, okay? They wrap it on this. I don't know if I can get it undone. They wrap it on this. So now I have all of these kinks, right? But I'm going to use these kinks to my advantage, okay? I'm going to use these kinks to create what will appear to be a bow, all right? I am going to have my bow come out this side, okay? So when you turn it over, it's going to be opposite of what you think. You want your bow to hang out that way. So here we go. I am going to take and create a bow, loop. I'm going to call it a loop right here. See that? Okay. Now because no one sees the back side, I'm going to take some tear and tape. I'm going to pinch it together, make sure my loop is outside the flower pot. Put my tear and tape down. Fold it down. Okay, this little piece doesn't need to be there. It can be trimmed off. Actually, it's going to be confusing when they see that poking out. So I'm going to trim that off so it doesn't show. Now you're going to take another loop, and you may have to go to the pass a loop and go to the next loop. You see what I mean? And do another loop. So the other loop comes out here. Okay, so I'm going to kind of pull on it a little bit so it's not so precise. So it can be more rounded, okay? And so now I'm going to have me another loop. See that? I'm going to pinch it. See, now I've made another loop. And I'm going to have it pop out over here. Okay, now you got quite a bit underneath here, but don't worry because I'm going to tell you what we're going to do. Okay, so now I need a little bit more tear and tape. I use my teeth to hold it, so I try to keep stuff I do that with in my own supply so people don't get grossed out. Some people don't understand. I only have one hand and I have to be what do you call that? Accommodating to those circumstances, right? So this is what I have. See that? I've got two loops that look like a bow. Now I'm just going to go in here and trim out that extra piece because I've taped it down. Trim out the extra piece that's not needed. All right. And you know why I'm not worried? That is because we're going to do dimensionals underneath it and put it on the, it'll be put on the front. So now that we've got that, I'm going to put it aside. Let's get this down first. You can do this a couple different ways. What I did, because you can put your vase in the middle, and then the problem could be for you is your corners might curl up. Here's what I did on mine. You don't have to do this because it is tricky, all right? On mine, I went and I do have some that are actually small glue dots, but at the time I didn't see these, and I grabbed my big ones and I had to roll my glue dot to fit the small space. But I'm going to use these small glue dots. These should work. I need 4 of them. Okay. Okay, now make sure you've got it turned over and take a small glue dot and put a glue dot in each corner, okay? So when you put it on there, if you're using these sheets, you put it on there, and sometimes what you need to do so it doesn't pull up your cardstock paper is you're going to push down on it really hard and then roll it away, and it'll peel off real well, okay? One of my glue dots decided to stay on the yellow paper, so I'm just picking it up with my fingernail, putting that down. Got 3 down, 1 to go. So I'm grateful for you all, just for all of you that have stayed behind to watch all of this. I just felt that it would be necessary, or not necessary, but it'd be very helpful when you do the class. You know ahead of time what's going to happen, and you're not feeling pressured because you feel you might be behind. That's not what I want. That's not what the class is about. Class is about getting together and having fun and talking and giggling and having fun. So I've got all 4 corners done. Okay, so I'm going to go kind of in the middle. I'm eyeing it. You know why? You could get a tape measure and you could be pretty precise, but you know that person that's getting this card, what are they doing? They're not getting out their ruler. They're looking at this beautiful card you sent them, and they are appreciating what you've sent them. They're not sitting there and going, oh, it's a little off here or there. That's not what they're doing. If you're worried about somebody that might be doing that, then don't send them a card. Send them something else that they'll like instead. Okay, so I've got a big enough surface here. I'm going to use the larger dimensionals. I'm going to use the large ones because then I can go all the way around, and definitely go over the edges of where you have put your tape just to make sure everything stays in place. Now, this is risky. I'm going to show you why. I put a little bit over the cording, or whatever you want to call it, because it was sneaking out underneath my tape. It's risky because it might pull up a little bit more on when you put it down on your surface. Don't worry about it though. Like I said, people aren't there to sit there and judge your card that way. They are appreciating that you're thinking of them. That's all this is about, you know. And I know I have had so many people come back to me and say, you know what, I used a card the very next day at work or something like that, and that person was so appreciative that of that special card and that attention that they received. And so do it. Just take cards with you. Put a card in your purse. I don't care. And so I've got the whole back. I've got quite a few on there. Okay. So you're going to put it in the middle here. What's nice about it saying Flower Market is it's not, you don't have to worry about it not being specific to what you want it to be. What you write on the inside is going to be what's important. If you want, you could add a sentiment in the inside, but this is all it needs to be. And they just enjoy, send it to somebody that enjoys flowers, okay? So that's that. And when you join me in class on Sunday, I will explain a little bit more about some of the, let's do this. Hey, so I will explain a little bit more about some of the great things that I have in store for this year. Okay, number one, remember I told y'all on your fourth class, I'm going to give you a blends 2-pack. There's different colors, everyone, you know, so it's not everyone's going to get the same. You get a blends 2-pack on your fourth visit, or whatever you want to call it. I think I maybe have one person. A lot of you have had instances where you couldn't make one of them, but next month, be ready, because a lot of you are going to be, that's going to be your fourth class. I'm also going to start doing some nice gifts for the ones that bring a friend to the stamp camps. I will explain that on Sunday at stamp camp. I will have specific gifts for the first, second, third, and on time you bring a friend, okay? And then of course when you have your friend come back, then they will get a special gift that they can use in their card making. And it's not going to be the same exact gift for the person that comes back, like the next person that comes back their first time. It won't be the same gift, just because I'm just going to kind of see what's available at the time when I do ordering and get it that way. So thank you for watching. This is probably going to be long. I apologize, but see you all Sunday. And just want to share my love. Bye. Once I stop recording.